Hi everyone, this is Sheena from For the Love of Paper, and I'm here to do a flip through of a Blue Christmas junk journal that is listed in my Etsy shop, For the Love of Paper Co. This is a 7.5 by 5-inch journal. It has a hitch post closure, some book corners to protect the book cover. This book cover is authentic. I didn't change anything. This is the way the cover was, and I thought it was beautiful, so I just added a spine dangle and then just tried to preserve this cover. So it has like this plate, this image already on it, and then there's these embossed images of little children. This book is actually Christmas stories, like children's Christmas stories, and I use some of the book pages within. So I will show you. It has, I don't know if I said this, but it has a 1.5 inch spine, and it's Christmas stories every child should know. And this spine dangle is removable from the bull clip, and it has, let's see, a little blue bow with this, looks like a Christmas bulb attached to it. There's many different textures within this. Some is wool, some are softer, rickrack. These pieces of trim or lace that are a little bit thicker. There's like a vintage button in here. There's a key in it. There's two more. Here it is. There's a dove hidden in it, and then another like ivory, like bulb charm. So that is the removable spine dangle. So looking at the inside, again, it's a hitch post with 3 signatures. It's a fabric reinforced spine. These are the images that are embossed on the cover, so I just left that. There's this book page image. This journal is full of vintage pieces. I have decided to stop hoarding and start using. So this is a piece of old Pennsylvania Railroad documentation. This is a vintage Christmas postcard, and it's from 1913, so that's tucked in there. I will say that there's a total of about 24 pieces of ephemera and tags that are removable. So that's clipped on there. There's a pocket here with a tag with coffee dye paper on the back. I will say this is one of the tags that I made, and for all the tags I did make, I used vintage paper as the background. So whether it's music paper, one of the pages from the book block itself, or oh, I don't remember what one of the other ones are, but we'll see it as we go through. But it's also a vintage piece of paper. It's it's from like a Vintage Farmer's Almanac from a December issue. This is a recipe. I got a lot of recipes, and this is one of them. Ginger snaps is pretty authentic to Christmas. You can use that possibly and make gingerbread cookies. This is a piece of ledger. Here's one of the book pages from the book block. Parchment paper. I did use several textures of paper. This folds out and folds down for plenty of writing space. This is I have a whole notebook of somebody's notes from like courses that they took in school. So there's a piece of that in there. This is just a piece of lined paper. Here's an old photo that's clipped in. Here is another tag that I made. This is a piece from a December almanac. So that has journaling space. I wanted to preserve this song. This is, it's a replication of like a township's minutes from like the early 1900s. And I just love the font that's on it. So I put that in. Here's another piece of vintage ledger. Scrapbooking paper. Here's another piece of vintage ledger. This is from an old Christmas activity book that was my in my family, and it just folds up, and I have a little tuck spot in there with this old recipe card that you can use. Here's a magazine page with a Christmas story on there. Here's a piece of school writing paper. Here's a piece of vintage ledger, authentic vintage ledger. It did come with all these spots on it, so I left it true to what it is. Here's a piece of, this is Edith Holden, and it's like the diary pages, and I made the center signature one of the December pages, the December signature, the middle signature, one of these December pages. And then here's the other part of that authentic piece of ledger. I did stagger pages too, so like here you'll see some, then it's different there. I just felt that that adds a little character. And you might have a full sheet on one side, but then I folded it on the other side just to allow for different character as well. This is again the other half of that magazine story, and here's the Christmas activity book. Some tucks I didn't completely sew, or some pockets I didn't completely sew, because you can tuck things in and out of there like I had done back here. So it just makes a little tuck versus a full pocket. Here's another page of vintage ledger. This is some old stationery I had, and to like kind of put it in, I sewed it to some like 8x8 paper. So that just adds a little bit more writing space. Here again is a piece of ledger. This is the other half of that like replica of township notes, and a bookcase. They are obviously talking about. And here is a side pocket, and it's pretty deep, so I have like this little journaling spot I created. It kind of is hidden because I made it smaller than the flap, so that tucks in there. Here is a library card pocket, and I just have a library card, and then this is ornaments. I really can't even read that. Ornaments, a Midsummer Night's Dream. So that's like a card catalog replica, and then it's got journaling space on the back. Obviously these two pieces right here are authentic, and then I just did this little collage piece here. Journaling space, again another page from the school notes. This is another piece of ledger that completely flips down for plenty of journaling space. You could also obviously use them as pockets. Here is parchment paper that folds open, more book pages, more landscape ledger. This is the other half of the ginger snap recipe. We're still in the first signature. There's about 20 pages in each signature. This is a tag that I made, and this is the first page of the book. So I thought it would be neat for you to have that, and I just made it into a tag, and then you have journaling space on the back, so that tucks in here. Then here's the other half of that railroad piece and the book page. So going into the second signature, this is an envelope from Snow Hill, Maryland. I just thought that fit and you can use it in the journal to add things in it, but it's just paper clipped on there. And then there's a big pocket here with a journal card that is from vintage book page, music pages, and then this is coffee dye paper on the back. This is a ledger piece. I don't know how to explain it. It's got a lot of texture to it. It's thicker and it almost feels fabric-y, like a linen or something. It's just neat, the material of this. Here's vintage ledger. This is just a piece of scrapbook paper, kids writing paper, a piece of landscape ledger, another piece of the school paper. This is old typing paper. So I called this one piece, but it's really like, because it's got this perforation and I didn't undo that, there's really like 3 sheets there. So you could use that in a unique way. This is again a book page from an old Christmas book. I just love the images in it. A piece of ledger. This is another piece from that old Christmas activity book. Here is a little journaling card clipped on there with some vintage music in the back. This is a piece of Sears and Roebuck. Sears and Roebuck. Is that? Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. I have several of them, and this page has sleds on it, so I pulled that and put that in here. It's got a top tuck, so you could slide things in there. This is again a piece of vintage ledger that folds out. Pages from the actual book. This is a card front that I just sewed onto a piece of 8x8 scrapbooking paper, and you have some journaling space here. Owls, a snow owl, book page, music page. If you take notice, I don't read music. I attempted to play the clarinet in like 6th grade and that went nowhere. So this is upside down. The other ones are not, but this particular one is upside down. I should have watched the page numbers. But again, you could collage on that. And this is again a fold out of writing space, a top tuck. And then the reason I did that was to preserve this whole magazine page that is just a beautiful image as the center to the signature. And then plenty of writing space, music page. This is the other half of the owls with some winter birds, scrapbook paper, more book pages. Here's another piece of the old ledger. I have a thing for ledger, I have to say. I buy them in all shapes and sizes. The Sears and Roebuck page. This is an old Christmas card that I like dismantled, and I have the thing stuck in a thread, I guess. So a front of an old Christmas card that I sewed around, and then you have journaling space on the back, and that's just clipped on here. And you can remove a lot of these things if you want to, add your own things, but I definitely wanted to give you a lot of unique space. So then that's tucked on there. This is, again, the activity page, ledger, another page from that old Christmas book, the typing paper, the school notes, landscape ledger, more writing space. This is another piece of stationery that was smaller that I sewed to. I think this is probably a 6x6, just to add a little bit more space for you. It gives a little unique shape within the journal. Ledger page. This is that paper that's really textured. It's got its markings on it, just from age and wear. This is another old Christmas card front that I removed, and sewed around the edges, and that's journaling space in this big pocket here. Here is another old image that's just clipped on there. Again, another one of those beautiful pages from that old Christmas book. The activity book page. Here's a little journaling card that I made. This is kind of collage, so it's got a piece of the book page, music, and back there the Farmer's Almanac. This December has 31 days as part of the Farmer's Almanac. And then I just used some Tim Holtz and decorated it, and that's not Tim Holtz, but just collaged on it and then sewed around it, and you have coffee dyed paper on the back. Another pocket here. This is again a piece from the actual book itself that I collaged on, and then you have journaling space on the back. Music page that is upright. Another one of the stationery pieces that I sewed to scrapbook paper, and then I did this like small collage on the back just to add like a whole sheet of journaling space. And here is again ledger that folds out, the book page itself. This is the smaller side of some watercolor paper, so that's a little flap there. This is another piece from that replica of, like, I really think it's like Minutes from a Township. And I put in this is again one of the tucks that I didn't sew, but I put this glassine envelope in it, and inside the envelope is some old stamps, 1981, and then this like Christmas image, cat and dog playing card. So those are tucked in there for you. Some vintage pieces to use throughout however you want. Another piece of the Edith Holden, and like I said, it was like diary notes. So this one actually the prior owner had filled some in, so that's pretty neat. You can read through that. More landscape, like ledger, scrapbook paper. This is another piece of the linen type ledger, and this one was not, like, it has these pencil markings that you could remove if you didn't want to, and then write something on there yourself or collage on it. But it's tanned down here at the bottom, and I just still really like it. This is an envelope that has collage here, and then this little tab pulls out, and then this is a pretty large journal card that I made with coffee dyed paper on the back, so that just slides in here. And then on the back side is an envelope from the top. This is like more like a pocket, and then there's another recipe card tucked in there. I've had those for years and years and never used them, so I decided I was going to put it in the journal with a little collage here. Vintage ephemera. This is another Christmas image page story from one of the Christmas magazines I have. This music page is similar to the ledger in one of the other signatures. I tucked this piece of stationery in here, but it opens almost up to a full page and then flips down. So just see if I can zoom out without losing this. Yeah, so then you can see it a little bit better there. And then you could make this into pockets if you wanted to. But again, I just left that option for you. It's huge collage space or whatever you wish to do with it. Again, another notes from school line page. This is glassine paper. So this one folds out and has a tuck spot there, folds in, vintage ledger, another Sears and Roebuck page, and this is the center of the signature, and I did that because it's like what do you call them? These days we call them long johns, but then they called them winter underwear, so I just thought that was neat. So I put that page in the center of the signature. And more ledger paper. This is the other half of the glassine paper page. Just lined paper. More of the school paper. This is the other half of the music page that opens up really large. The magazine page, more ledger. This is a old Christmas card front that you can journal on. I had put it on the back flap of that envelope just so that keeps that sturdy and intact, and then you can journal here. More of that textured paper. This is another oops, I just realized this is sitting over here, and I think, is that in here? I think so. Sorry, this piece of stationery that I sewed on to some scrapbook paper. This is a more modern landscape ledger. This is the Edith Holden page from December. It says mistletoe. Again, this is a page from that replica of the township notes. And this is an actual tuck spot. You could make it a pocket if you wanted to. This is the other larger half of that watercolor paper. So I just clipped on a little Christmas image there. It's a vintage photo. And then this opens all the way up, and I did clip another piece of stationery on there as well. The book page, ledger, little piece of the scrapbook paper, music paper. This is another 1981 Christmas envelope, and this says Christmas Valley. Looks like Christmas Valley, Oregon, and there's nothing inside that. I love that this is kind of like embossed, and it came through. You might not be able to see that on camera, but it comes through on the other side. But just a envelope that you can use. More of the old activity page, and then this is the last piece. This is, again, one of those beautiful images from that Christmas book. And then this is the back of the book. And I have put my little For the Love of Paper Co. patch on the back. So it is a pretty thick journal. I think I need to tuck these back in a little bit more from taking them out. But, yep, hitch post closure. There's still a lot of give to that if you want to add more. That's it on its own with its closure. So it's full, but it's not like gaping. So it, for the most part, has its, with a little bit of push, it has its true size to it. And again, there is the spine dangle as well. So this is already posted as a listing on my Etsy page For the Love of Paper Co. And if you're interested, you can go over there and check it out. I will have at least 2 more Christmas journals coming. And I just wanted to, again, mention I used a lot of vintage pieces in this that I've been holding on to. So I really like this style journal. And this might be how I start to lean as far as my journal creation and style. I've only been doing this since really probably right around a year, but the actual opening of my Etsy shop was probably early spring 2022, and only really started to get recognized in the last since August. So I'm still figuring out my style as I create things, but I really like the true junk journal style using eclectic pages. That's a mix of different things. So I hope you enjoy this. And again, go check it out on my Etsy, For the Love of Paper Co. if you're interested. And have a great night. Thanks.